What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 2 of my GatsbyJS tutorial, and in episode 1 we covered how to get up and running with Gatsby, and in this episode I'm going to show you guys how to get your Gatsby website hooked up with automatic deployment to Netlify. And if you haven't seen episode 1, I will link that below so you can check that out if you want. But basically we created a new Gatsby website. I'm just going to cd into that website, tutorials. I renamed it Gatsby tutorial for the purpose of these tutorials. And before we do anything, I'm just going to run a simple command. So I'm going to check my node version. I can see that I'm running 10.15.1. So I'm going to run node -v angle bracket .nvmrc. And if I ls the directory here, I can now see that I have an nvmrc file. And this file is basically just going to lock in your node version. So when we do push to Netlify, it's going to know to use the same version that we're using locally, so there's never a discrepancy between our node versions. All right, so the first step that we need to do here is create a new Git repository. I'm gonna head over to GitHub, and in the top corner here, I will create a new repository, and I'm gonna name this Gatsby tutorial. So I'm gonna have this public so you guys can take a look at the repo anytime you want. And as this tutorial series progresses, you can pull it or clone it down and you can work from it yourself. We're gonna leave this empty, don't initialize with README. We can add this stuff later. I'm gonna go ahead and create the repository. And now we're gonna copy the repo URL here. So what we have to do, since in the first episode, we created our Gatsby site based off of a starter. If I run git remote v, git remote, not remove, remote v, I can see that we don't have a remote origin set up. So what I'm gonna do is add the remote URL. So git remote add origin, and then just paste in the URL that we just copied. So now if we do git remote v, can't type today, we can see that the URL has been updated and our local project is now connected to that Git repo. So from here, I'm just gonna run git status to see, so I can see the updates that we made in the previous video. So I'm gonna add those, git add, and then I'm gonna commit them. Add counter component, and I'm gonna go ahead and push that up to master. Okay, so if I head back over to my Git repo and I refresh, I can now see that our repo has been updated with our Gatsby website. So this is good. So step 2 is going to be adding our site to Netlify and hooking that up to our Git repo. So head over to Netlify. If you don't have an account, just go ahead and sign up for one. It's free. And I'm going to click new site from Git here. And I'm going to go ahead and click GitHub. And notice GitLab and bitbucket also are supported for continuous deployment. So I'm just going to click on GitHub. It's going to go ahead and authenticate because I'm already signed in. Now from here, I'm just going to click on Gatsby tutorial. So that's the repo that we just created. And for all the settings, we're going to leave these as they are because Netlify already knows what it needs. So click deploy site. And if we take a look down here, we can see under production deploys, there is a deployment in queue from the master branch. So what is happening here? I can go ahead and click site deploy in progress. And then I can click on building here. So we can actually see what's going on in the deploy log. So what it's doing is it's running some setup stuff, and then it's going to run Gatsby build, the command that we tested out in the first episode. And that's just going to build the static site, and it's going to be served from a public folder on the server. All right, so that build is done. And you can go ahead and click preview right here. And we can see that our site is now live on our Netlify server. So now we have our Netlify account hooked up to our Git repo, and we have deployment running on pushes to master. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how preview deployments work. So heading back over to our directory here, I'm going to create a new branch, git checkout b. We'll call this new feature. And I'm just going to pop open VS Code. Okay, so I'm just going to make a simple update to the text, new feature. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. Head back over to my terminal. I'm going to add that change, and then I'm going to commit it to the repo. New feature text. Okay, so now I'm going to push this new branch up, git push origin, new feature. And when that's done, I can head over to my Git repo, refresh the page, and we can see that new feature is now here. So anytime we have a new branch with changes and we create a pull request, this is going to automatically start a build to a preview URL. So if I go ahead and I create this pull request and then head over to my Netlify, I'm going to go back to my Netlify site homepage, which you can do by clicking this URL at the top here. And I can now see that we have a preview deploy building. So this is really, really useful if you are working on a client website, say, and you want to show the client changes to the website before they go live. Obviously, we can see any changes we're making locally when we're developing. This allows you to quickly and easily preview any changes to the website before you merge them to the master and they go to live production. And if you want to check the build process, you can just click here and we can see the deployment log. So this is also, if your build runs into any issues, you can just check the deploy log here and it will tell you what went wrong. So we can see that the build finished running, site is live. We'll click preview and we can now see that we have our new feature updated here. So if I go back up to my homepage and open up our live site, we can see that the change has not been reflected on the live site because it hasn't been merged to master yet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and merge this pull request. And as soon as I merge that pull request, we can see if I refresh, there will now be a new production deployment running. That pull request that we just merged triggered this production deploy. And once this is done running, that update will be live on our live website. Okay, we can see that it's published. I'm going to go back over to the live URL, refresh, and we can see that that update is now live. All right, guys, so that is it for this episode. And because of how simple Gatsby is and how nice it integrates with Netlify, in just these first 2 episodes, we have covered how to get a Gatsby site up and running, how to start developing, and how to get it to deploy to a live server. In the next episode, I'm going to cover how you can set up Chakra UI with your Gatsby website. Chakra is an up-and-coming component library for React that I discovered recently, and it looks super nice. It looks really fun to use. So I'll be showing you guys how you can pull that in and start developing using that in your projects. Like always, thank you very much for watching. And if you did enjoy the video, please leave me a thumbs up because that's going to help me with YouTube's mystical algorithm. And if you want to see more content like this, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon because if you don't, YouTube is not going to let you know when I post new videos. But until next time, guys, keep coding and I will see you in the next video.